Thank you very much. Oh, please be seated. All right, thank you for coming. Thank you, Session Hub, for inviting me to be a part of today's program, Talent Hangout. How many of us are talented? Let me see by hands, those who are talented. Let me see those who are not talented. If you are not talented, let me see your hands. Okay, I have a few hands. Everybody said you are not talented. Okay. I'm going to speak on production. How many producers are here? Hey, not even one. Okay, 1, 2, a few. Okay, how many music directors are here? How many composers are here? I'm not going to talk about composition. I believe that Alex is going to speak on that. How many composers are here? Hey, today my audience is limited though. I'm sure as I'll be talking, most of us will be sleeping. Okay, please let's come in front. Let's fill the spaces so that I'm sure the other people who will come will touch on other things. So please, if there's a seat in front of you, please just fill that seat, okay, so that everything will be nice, just for the purposes of the video also. Thank you. All right, production. Now, every song that you hear on radio, in your car, on internet, in a certain sense has been produced. By themselves, if you hear songs, original songs, if you hear them without production, you may not appreciate it, you may not like it. So it goes through a process, and then after the process, it comes out as a record. Okay? Now, even though I'm talking about production, this will apply to music directors, those who teach and all that, who teach their choirs and all that. It will come in handy. So the process of production is simply getting a song ready for the market. Getting a song ready for the market. There are so many processes involved in production. Obviously, like any other production, it begins from the conception stage. You must first have an idea. You must first have some words. You must first have a melody to a song. I mean, that is talking about popular music or pop music. You must have some words, and then you graduate the process through other stages till you get a record. I'm sure we go through that in a certain regard or in a certain sense in our rehearsals. I'm sure we go through that process also. So let me just touch on the process of production, even though there are few producers here. Let me just touch on it and then I'll be out of your way. Now, before I even talk about that, we need to understand that production can be good, it can be average. I'll not say bad. It can be good and it can be average. A well-produced song doesn't necessarily guarantee that the song will be a hit. And an averagely produced song could be average in every sense, but could be a hit. All right, so I'm not going to talk about making hit songs. So I'm not talking about making hit songs. I'm just talking about production that is done in a careful manner, in a processed manner, in a very organized fashion that comes out as good music. So I said earlier that the process of music production begins with conception. The second stage is creative stage. The third stage is analysis. The fourth is recording, and then mixing and mastering. Most times, especially in this part of the world, we jump the stages. You enter into a studio and you say, oh boss, I'm here to see a lady studio engineer. Ah, okay, there's one. You enter a studio, Charlie, and they present it in its rawest form, and you have to do something, do some magic. So it happens that because of that, we skip a lot of the processes and we just start doing something, and at the end of the day, we say we have a finished product. So let me go through the process again of music production. Number 1 is conception. Number 2 is creative stage or creation. Number 3, analysis. Number 4, recording. Number 5, mixing and mastering. So for your song to be well produced, it must go through this process. Now, conception stage, that is the beginning of the process, obviously. That's where you birth the concept, what you want to do. What do you want to do in terms of the music? And it's important that the producer and the songwriter must first agree on a vision for the song. You should never start recording or producing a song when you don't have a vision for the song. When I talk about vision, this is what I mean by vision. What kind of emotion or what kind of vibe do you want to communicate to your listeners? What kind of emotion or what kind of vibe do you want to communicate to your audience? So if anybody picks up your song and listens to it, the person must get that vibe you intended originally. So the conception stage is very, very important. Do not fear. We are still in the conception stage. Right, so you need to establish a clear vision for what you want to do. Establish a clear direction for the music. What genre of music do you want to do? You cannot just go into a studio or go to a producer and say that, oh, this is what I want you to do, or just do something for me. You must first agree on the style of music. What genre do you want to do? Are you looking at doing something that is soft rock? Are you looking at doing something that is a ballad? Are you looking at a high life track? Are you looking at a dance hall track? Are you looking at a reggae track? Because that will inform the details of the creation process or of the creative process. If you do not establish that from the word go, then you just pack on unnecessary stuff when you get to the creative stage. So you need to agree clearly what style of music, what genre, what style. Is it a dance hall track? Is it an up-tempo song? Is it a soft kind of music? Is it a song that draws people in? Is it emotive? What kind of song do you want to produce? And the same goes, for those of us who are music directors. It is important that before you even start out your rehearsal, you should have a clear idea of where you see the music ministry going in terms of the Sunday. So maybe praise and worship. Have a clear focus. What do you want to achieve at the end of your praise and worship, at the end of your ministration? Do you want people to lift up their hands? Do you want people to reflect on what you have shared with them? It is important that you make that decision from word go. Is that okay? Make that decision from word go. Now, to help you do that, you can also have a reference song. Now, a reference song is a song that you think you want your song to sound like. Right? So, before you even get to creative stage, you can have a reference track in mind. So that when you go into the studio, you can tell the person that, oh, have you heard this song? I want a similar style. It makes it easier for the production process to be more efficient. All right, so conception stage. Number 2 is the creative stage. Now, this is where you develop ideas to fit your established vision. This is where you develop ideas to fit your vision. So, somebody comes up to you, please, who has a song that is yet to be recorded and can help us with our demonstration today? If you have a nice song, but you've not recorded it, you can come up. So we'll use your song as a case study. People are afraid. Nobody will steal the song. It's copyrighted. Our session hub, nobody will steal it. If somebody steals the song, Charlie, Aluta, we do Aluta. Because we're all here song when the song was made. So please, if you have an original song. All right. Oh, someone can. Is he coming? Oh, he's the one. Okay. Is it a good song? Is it a good song? Okay. Okay, good. I hope it's a good composition. It's not recorded yet. Okay. It's not recorded.
Hallelujah. Can you please put your hands together for the Lord? Concroni Yehovah, Osana Juma Yangwa, Obiara Tisewo, O Mira. Concroni Yehovah, Osana Juma Yangwa.
Any keyboard player? I don't want to. So please, you can go to the keyboard. You help us with our demonstration.
Concroni Yehovah, Osana Juma Yangwa, Obiara Tisewo, O Mira. Concroni Yehovah, Osana Juma Yangwa, Obiara Tisewo, O Mira.
Now, so we're going to use his song as case study. So let me just talk. So please be at post and then. Now, the creative stage, there are a number of things you have to consider when you are creating music. Number one is progression. Now, progression is like, do we understand progression? You don't understand progression. What do you find is So you must first get a progression. So when he started, you realize the keyboardist was playing to follow what he was singing. So he was establishing a progression for the song. You get it? So that is progression. So first and foremost, you must settle on progression. Not exactly first and foremost, but it's one of the things you should consider. Number two is to consider the tempo of the song. You don't want your song to be too fast, neither do you want it to be too slow. It should fit what you have in mind. Number three consideration is the key of the song. Sometimes you hear songs and you realize that you ask yourself, so this person, didn't he or she realize that the key is too high for the person? Because sometimes maybe the person sang the song. You know, sometimes you get songs like maybe from outside, somebody just sent a voice note to you and he sent it in a key and you program it or produce it in that particular key. And you ask the person to sing in that same key. But you always need to make sure that you decide on the key, a favorable key, and a key that will help you communicate the song clearly. Another consideration in the creative stage is, are you going to use loops? What kind of loops are you going to use? Now, for those of us who do not know what loops is, if you hear songs, most of the times you hear some beat in the background, but it's not the drums per se. You can hear some chuk, 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 chuk. Yes, that is loops. So you make a decision as to whether you want to use loops or not. And most of the times, we just set the loops to begin from the track, the beginning of the track, or to start playing from the beginning of the track. It's not always the case. You can decide to let the loops come in at some point or in a section of the music just to create an effect. So you need to decide whether you're going to use loops and where you will fit the loops. Number 4 4 is intros and interludes. Intros and interludes. So an introduction to the music is very, very crucial. It either allows you or it lets your audience connect with the song from where it go, or it disconnects them. So sometimes you can hear a song, a very simple ballad, but the intro begins so plenty things. Then they start the song, oh yo nyamia, and you're wondering, hey, it's when all of this for this simple song. You understand? And most of the times when that happens, you realize you are disconnected because it's too much for you and it's too much for our untrained musical ears. Like again, so intros are so important, and we'll demonstrate that with our friend song. Separation of sections. Now, anytime you're writing music, there are sections to the music. Obviously, you can have a verse, a chorus, a bridge, a vamp, or whatever, a coda. It doesn't mean that it will be in that format, not necessarily. But there are sections of the music, and you need to make sure that those sections stand out. When you listen to a lot of songs, you cannot distinguish between the chorus and the verse, because perhaps they all have the same energy. The same energy. Verse is hyper, chorus is hyper. So which is which? Because you want the chorus to be the message that sticks in the mind of the listener. So that is where you put in a lot of effort so that that side will be more energetic, will be more pronounced. But if the verse is competing with the chorus for attention, then we are in trouble. So just imagine you are singing A flat. Right, so you are singing, it's too high for me. You have done so much for me. F sharp. You've done so much for me, I cannot tell it all. So just imagine if the song began, you've done so much for me. Where are we going to eventually? So every time, make sure that the sections are separated so that the listener can tell that this is the verse. Obviously, you want your verse to be softer. You want your chorus to be hyped up. Perhaps you can add a bridge or a vamp. A vamp makes the effect more pronounced. Right? So when we are producing songs, we need to think in this light. Think in this light. Number 6. Will you incorporate some hook lines? And that's one thing that the hip-hop producers do like an amazing job with. Those who do hip-hop, they always have like some hook line. Dum, 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 dum. And it will play perhaps maybe at the chorus. Dum, 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 dum. Unfortunately, we are not learning from that side, but I feel it's so underrated. Having hook lines helps to reinforce the message. And at least that part will stick in the person's head. So maybe for our friend song, back to our friend song. So back to E flat. So this is a very simple song, but I'm sure some of us are already feeling the spirit in the song. Now, this is how you produce music. And let me tell you the truth. This one, are you recording? Are you recording? Are you recording? Helps you to keep the chorus in your mind. But you like it, eh? Use it in church, eh? Right. So hook lines. The other thing you can consider is rhythm. So I've been spoken about rhythm earlier. Now rhythm is for those of us who so rhythm or beat. Let's say a beat. So for example, maybe this song. Is there a drummer here? Okay. Please, drums. I need a drummer. Any drummer. Any good drummer. Oh. Blessed. Please, who is blessed? Blessed. Okay, so Lawrence, please. Lawrence the Rasta man. All right, let's give it up for Lawrence. Now, when you are producing music, you need to determine what kind of beat I'm using. And the second thing you should consider is you need to vary the rhythms so that it fits the different sections of the music. Do we understand that? That helps the song to gradually rise to a peak. If you start out a song and the rhythm is the same till the end, we do not feel the dynamics of the music. So it's important that you settle on a good rhythm secondly, make sure that you vary the rhythm. Vary it. So we're going to use this song again. Now this is how you're going to start the song for me. So you're going to do doom. Right again. So let's go. No, don't. Yeah. All right. even though the patterns are similar, it's different because each section is adding something to the next part or to the previous pattern. So by the time we get to the end of the song, you would have been like roped into the emotion or the energy of the music. Very, very important. And a lot of times drummers just settle on one groove and they want to play it to the end, or they want to overplay. In production, you keep it simple and you let the music rise gradually to its peak. You can add some syncopations. I know that's like what a lot of musicians like in a song, like syncopations. Da-na-na-na, 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 those things. So you can always add syncopations to create an effect, either in the introducing a chorus, or perhaps in the chorus you want more energy in the music. You can add syncopations into the creative process. Now I'll end on the analysis. It looks like my time is up. I will just end. I'll speak on the analysis stage and then I will end my session. Now, analysis. This is the stage where, let's say you've put together your ideas, you have your structure, maybe you have verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus, bridge, and chorus. Let's assume that is the structure. You have it in place, and you've done some basic stuff, you've played some things, you've added some tones and all that. Now, before I even, let me just go back to the creative stage. Another thing I forgot to say is how you use tones. How you use tones. Now, for those who are wondering what tones are, keyboard tones, Okay, so now this is a synthesizer. There are so many tones on it. Back to that. There are so many sounds on it. So what he's playing now is a piano tone, which is layered with some small strings. There are other tones. You could have like a pad. So please play a pad for us. Right. So this is how a pad sounds like. And often you use pads when you want to create a certain atmosphere. Then you can use pads. Okay, so let's say bells. Play a bell tone. The bell is not coming. Okay. Now, so this is a bell tone. Now, bells are used to add color or to accent a certain hook line. So you use bells to add a certain color or to accent a hook line. So, for example, if you was playing that ba, ba, na, na, you can use the bells to play that whilst the other instruments are playing it. It will accent that hook line. All right, so that's one. Okay, synth. Give me a soft lead kind of thing. Okay, so this is a synth. Maybe not really cool for the song we are doing, but this is a synth tone. It also does a similar thing as the bells. It accents a hook line, or you can use it. How many of us have heard of the song "Victory Belongs to Jesus"? You see, the beginning begins in yeah. So that is that is a synth tone. Now, all these tones must be used wisely. You don't just play the tones all the time. There are some tones that you can play all the time, like maybe a piano and EP, because that is supporting the rhythm section as well. You can play parts on soft music or slower tempo songs. If you are producing a song that is up tempo, it's not ideal to have parts because you will have a long tail and you don't want that. You want it to be sharp. You want it to be, punchy in your face. So you don't use some tones. And it's also for keyboard players. Like, you don't use like you're playing or you're doing praise, local praise. One more Jesus, and part is in the background. It's like it will be awkward. You see, it's too long. We need sharp tones for exciting music. So all these things are considerations we have to know when we are producing music. Now let me talk about the last thing, which is analysis, and then I'll be out of your way. Now, we are assuming that you have the structure already in place, and you've played some stuff, you've programmed it, It is advisable that you take a listen to make sure that all the sections of the music are connecting. So listen again. After you've done your basic stuff, you've programmed, you've put your tones, you've added your tones and everything. As though, yes, you have your music in place. But you listen and then see, maybe this part will benefit from more energy. So what instrument can I use to give me more energy? This part is too hyper for the song. Let me reduce the energy. Let me take out some elements. This part of the music is too full. There are so many instruments competing. Let me take out some of the instruments. So you do a critical analysis so that the different sections of the music fit together. Very, very, very important. If you're listening to the song and you feel that the tempo is too fast, then you reduce it. Or it's too slow, then you increase it a notch. So it's so important because then at least you have the song, you have the framework. So when you listen, you can listen to how the different elements and the different sections connect together. And then you make a decision as to what to take out. Am I okay? Can I go to the next stage, which is recording? Right? So at least for now, we have learned three things, or the three stages of the process of production. One, conception. Number two is what? Creation or creativity, the stage of creativity. And then the third one is the analysis. Now, all these must precede recording. Right? And a word of advice for those of us who do or who want to do live recordings. Now, before you even start your rehearsal, make sure that you have a certain framework you're working with. Always do some pre-production before you commence rehearsals. Don't tell your team that, okay, Charlie, we are going to do a live recording. Charlie, we'll start rehearsal next week. No. Make sure that your songs have been pre-produced. Maybe not fully detailed, but there's some structure, there's some consistency amongst the different sections and the different elements of your music. Thank you so much. Have a happy time producing.